Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. It's Rory here at Oliver Bernard. I'm here with Tim Clark today from Hive to speak about Go as technology and everything around that as a language, which should be really interesting. So first of all, Tim, if you want to introduce yourself and a bit about your background, people that don't know you, that would be great.
Okay, so I'm Tim Clark. I work at Hive on smart home technology. I used to work on the Hive backend platform, so server-side components, and in the last 6 months I've moved to the mobile team, so I've got a lot less opportunity for Go in the mobile team, but I used to do a lot in Go. I started using Go in about 2011 when I was working as a RabbitMQ consultant, and we used to investigate lots of technologies. So I've been using it on and off since then. And Hive, we use lots of languages. We use lots of Java, but we do have Go in our backend for small, simple services that we wanted to develop quickly. So we've got our time series processing. We show heating graphs for customers' heating to see how hot or cold your home is. That was all rewritten from Cassandra and Java. That was all rewritten in Go into AWS DynamoDB over the last 2 years, and that was quite successful and easy. I started the work, and then it's been taken over. I've left the team, they've taken it over, they're maintaining the Go. As I told them, you just need to give a developer about a week to learn Go, and they typically can pick it up. So they've been maintaining that. And we've got another few components sitting around. We put an API onto that in Go, and we use the library that I love called Go Swagger, which generates Go services from a Swagger doc. So instead of actually annotating your code with the Swagger, you write your Swagger, you run a program, and it gives you an interface for your services and wrappers, and you just go and fill in the backend calls, and it's fantastic. I recommend that for any API. So that's where we use it. We typically, in this space, we're typically looking at either Python or Go. Sometimes we go with Kotlin, but that's a bit heavier than we would like. But we deploy Lambdas in Go, and we deploy on servers in Go, and it's quite nice. It's quite nice that you can build standalone binaries in Go with a single command. So,
Makes sense.
That's loads, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, from your side, then you touched on that briefly earlier. Is that sort of what you see as one of the main positives of the language? Is that the ease that you can build platforms in it?
If you want to build something with a web or a network interface, like a platform component, it is so quick to just go and build up something with which is going to accept an HTTP request and run. That's really powerful. The other thing is that some people find annoying is it makes you think about all your error cases. When you write Go, you've got to handle your errors. So you start thinking about them, and actually means you probably start doing better engineering, because you're thinking, if that fails, can I do anything? What can I do? Which bits are going to fail? The typical Java program that I encounter on the server side, if something fails, it just throws a 500 error, and you might not even log anything. Whereas in Go, the compiler forces you to actually you've got to handle this error, or you've got to ignore it, make the decision, and a code review, you can go through and say, why are you ignoring all these errors? Because it's obvious.
Yeah.
In Java, it's a bit less obvious. So, and it's just I guess it's a small, simple language as well. You can't go crazy. I've used a lot of languages, but things like in Scala, where you can go crazy and make your code look. You can come back after 2 days and you can't read your own code.
Yeah.
In Go, you can sit down and you go through it, and you can come back months later and you can understand it. So it's very readable. That's quite powerful.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. I mean, more generally speaking, I was just thinking, moving away from the language briefly. How are you finding the working from home and everyone obviously remote? Because I mean, how much remote work did you guys do before we were obviously
Uh,
all forced into it?
quite quite a lot. We've always had third parties in either Russia or Hungary, Romania. So we've always had in the platform team probably 30% of the team were abroad,
Hmm.
and in the mobile team, it at some points it's been close to 100%. So we've always had the you know, you can't get in the room for a meeting
Yeah,
with these people because they're literally not in the same country as you.
sure.
We've always had that. So it's sort of not much different, apart from some of the people who would typically have a meeting. Some more of the product managers would want to get you in a room. Um, are getting used to this. Oh, I'm going to have to go and do calls. But yeah, we've had, yeah, as I said, we're split into two offices in the UK anyway. We're in London and Cambridge. And then, yeah, we've got so many third parties elsewhere. So working from home is pretty much always been happening because, there's no point me coming into an office when I'm only going to interact with somebody in Romania for 6 days. There's no, I might
Yeah.
as well just stay home. So no, but it's interesting, and yeah, we had a struggle at the start with people whose laptops were locked in offices and things like that, which and um, our IS is trying to increase the security on machines they can't get access to and testing all their remote access. So it's been fun, and it's still fun. Like I can't access. As of yesterday, I can't access Microsoft Teams, which I use a lot, anywhere but my browser. But I used to be able to do it on the desktop. I can't do it on the desktop currently. I think I'm about 6 updates away. IS tell me from being able to update, be able to go back to the desktop. But no, it's working. It's working surprisingly well. But as I said, we've done a lot before anyway. It's not. It wasn't abnormal before. Yeah.
Yeah, no, makes sense and sounds good. And then just quickly as well, I'd be interested to get your thoughts back on the language side of things,
Mm-hmm.
of where you see the future of Go as a technology going, both from a technical point of view and also from a business side. The reason I
Yeah.
ask is that I see a lot of different industries working with the language over the last couple of years. Companies obviously such as yourself, but online securities, blockchain, fintech, and
Mm.
everything else. Where do you see the language going from here, both from a from a technical and from a more commercial point of view?
That's interesting. Technically, I actually like it because it's so simple, and I would like, they fought really hard to keep it simple. And the one thing that is missing, I do program in other languages. I'm working on mobile development, so I'm using Kotlin, I'm using Swift at the moment, I'm using JavaScript and TypeScript. The one thing that would be really nice in Go would be generics to come, and I'm guessing they will come when they are ready. But I don't actually. Probably 75% of the code that I've written in Go didn't need it.
Hmm.
I could get around it. So that's yeah. So I think they just keep it keeps plodding along slowly, and I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with that, and I think
Yeah.
there's actually a benefit to you know I've got Go code from 8 or 9 years ago on my home laptop, which I know that I would work now with just a tiny bit of effort. And I think that's actually quite a powerful story in technology
Mm.
as well. I've got um, one of the Android apps I maintain doesn't even compile in the latest version of Android Studio. So I have to,
Yeah.
but I've never really had that in Go. It's always like, um, if you can get the library that you were using, whatever your dependencies were, if you could get it, it would compile and you could bring it up to date. But so Yeah, I would hope it's going to become more popular. I think that thing of actually, it's not a super. It's not a language that's flashy or introducing new things. It's a solid engineering language, and there's so many and it's lighter weight than say Java or C Sharp, which I'm guessing would have been a typical choice 5-10 years ago for
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in engineering and I'm going to use Java or C Sharp. With Go, you can literally write it and come back a year later, having done nothing on it, read it, and you can understand what's going. I did we have a weather proxy that I rewrote in Go, and it's exactly the case of I haven't looked at it 6 months. Somebody came and asked me a question, and it was half an hour to answer that question just because I could read the code. Whereas there's probably Java I've written where I go, well, it's going to take me ages to work out what it's doing. So I think it's going to be up. It's similar to to Python. It just gets the job done, and there's a lot of it there. You don't realise it's there, and it's got my previous team preferred it over Python just because it did have the type safety built in. It was statically typed, and then they did start adding types to Python, but they just said, "Oh, and Go, it's just there. I don't have to do anything extra."
Makes sense. So yeah, as I said, and also from a business point of view, lots of companies or more and more companies, I should say, are starting to use it. So hopefully that continues. Well, yeah, thanks very much for your time, Tim. As I said at the start, good to get your thoughts on the language in general and how you're using it. And know a lot of other people will be as well. So yeah, stick this on to LinkedIn. But yeah, thanks very much for your time and speak soon.
Okay. Thanks, Rory.
Bye.
Bye.